He must have had a means of watching me from his world. I'll bet he's been carrying a torch for me for years. How thrilling. It's all gone wrong. But that's par for the course with these Lois videos. Greetings, comic lovers, and welcome back to Casually Comics, the channel where we chat all things comics, from reviews of comics new and old to history to anecdotes, truly wherever our whims take us. Lois Lane and her romantic escapades. It's like coming home for a nice meal or to a visit from an old friend. It could be great, pleasant, comforting, but also have the potential to be awkward, perhaps even uncomfortable, or go completely awry. This time we're taking a look at issue 74 of Superman's girlfriend Lois Lane, aka a comic so full of twists and turns that I need the omnibus. It's a time capsule that I wish to hold in my hands. This issue's cover proclaims that if Superman doesn't defeat this character who looks identical to the Reverse Flash minus chest symbol, she'll have to marry him. The marriage part is full of lies, but this issue is still a wild ride, and it features many of the staples when it comes to comics about Lois Lane's concerning romances. We've got a highly questionable love interest, Lois Lane being blinded because someone is handsome, and of course aloof Superman. Get ready, and if you're also ready to proclaim your past connection to Lois Lane, well, I've got something for you. You may have noticed my shirt. This is the Lois Lane's X shirt, and you too can fashionably declare that you're Lois Lane's ex. I have tees in all manners of colors and cuts, sweaters and hoodies for if you need to be comfy while you're telling the world about your ex. Or rather, that you are the ex. Mugs if you want to drink those feelings away. Whatever drink is in the mug. There is no judgment here. We all deal with Lois dumping us in different ways. So if you're interested in letting the world know that you're one of Lois's legion of exes, well, the link is down there. They are very comfy, just as we are comfortable being Lois Lane's exes. Even the not Reverse Flash here is. I'm Sasha, and let's see just what exactly is going on here. Now this issue comes to us from 1967. It's written by Leo Dorfman and has art by Lois Lane veteran Kurt Schaffenberger. He's done art for so many of these adventures that we've read about. Beat him, Superman, or I'll have to become his wife. In other news, I like Lois's dress. We've got a whole playlist of these, so it's gonna take a bit to phase me at this point. But don't worry, this comic is up to the challenge. It starts rising to it, in fact, right there on the teaser page with our romantic, in quotes, rival pulling Lois along by her hair, while Superman actually manages to look bothered by these events, and that's saying something because Superman in the Silver Age really could not care less about most things, especially most things Lois related. Stop, Superman, don't attack Hiro. He doesn't mean me any harm. This must be the way they court a girl on the world from which he comes. It must be the intense hair pulling that caused her to phrase that so convolutedly. Also, that doesn't make it right, Lois. The story proper has a bunch of filler as the opener. Lois and Jimmy are covering a fire and the building is coming down on top of them, but Lois tells Jimmy to get under the desk, and that prompts Jimmy to remember that, right, Superman isn't even on planet Earth, so using the signal watch would have done nothing anyway. At least he knew that, unlike the time when Lois jumped off a cliff because she didn't want to be late for work because her car broke down and just hoped that Superman would be there to catch her. Didn't think about maybe he's not there until about halfway down. Superman is off at a Justice League meeting in space where they're discussing an interplanetary treaty to set up an asteroid prison for space criminals, all without members from other worlds really being present. The Flash is chairing this for some reason, and I know that I give Hal a lot of heck, but this really seems like a job for the Green Lantern, maybe even Superman being an alien himself. Why is the Flash doing this? You'll find out. There's a reason. And oh boy, is it silly. And they don't mention the asteroid prison again this issue, by the way. Just a morally dubious prison potentially out there in space. But while this meeting is going on, because the Flash says it's gonna take as long as it takes, something mysterious, a capsule, lands on Earth in the ocean. Inside, there's a mysterious visitor. This comic likes the word mysterious, so I'm gonna use it a lot too. Mysterious. Look, there's a passenger in an outlandish costume. Look, the Flash seems to be in a bad mood today, so I hope that word doesn't get back that people are bad-mouthing the inverse version of his costume. Now, I know continuity was super loose at this point, but for those who are wondering, the Reverse Flash, Eobard Thawne, or as he was more known as Professor Zoom back in the day, as well as the Reverse Flash, but they called him Professor Zoom more at this point, he did exist. He had debuted in 1963. At the point of this issue of Superman's girlfriend Lois Lane, he would have had 4 appearances. So yeah, kinda odd that they used the exact same costume design. Again, minus chest symbol. Lois and Jimmy, who got out safely from that fire, somehow are sent by Perry to investigate this. And it's when Lois sees this mysterious alien that they can't seem to revive that things go off the rails. He's so handsome. Who could he be? I mean, Lois, does it even matter? Superman shows up at this point. I guess they decide whatever they were going to decide with that asteroid prison, and he tries to wake him up, but to no avail. And then he says he has another mission to go on that's more important than waking up some random handsome person. Lois then decides that this is a job for fairy tale logic. Oh, poor boy, doomed to slumber forever. He looks like a handsome sleeping prince in a fairy tale waiting for the kiss of a beautiful maiden to awaken him. What is Lois seeing that I'm not? I find it hard to imagine hotness transferring through the really bright yellow of that reverse flash getup. Maybe I just need to try harder. If Lois Lane has taught me anything, it's that anyone and anything can be handsome if you try hard enough. You just gotta have the right attitude. So Lois just leans over and kisses him. Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, so many fairy tales really style. And Jimmy snaps a picture because he says it'll make great news. And yes, I can see the headline now. Thirsty reporter makes out with comatose alien. Perry's gonna put it on the front cover. And so the alien awakens. And he does have some luscious eyelashes. Maybe that's what's drawing Lois in. He sits up and breaks his restraints, which proves that he's also super. I mean, Lois should have just brought her wedding dress to this. Call me Hiro. My origin must remain a secret for now. How do you awaken me? When he learns that it was via kiss from Lois, he decides he needs to show some gratitude. Wow, this handsome dreamboat goes for me. He's probably gonna use his alien science to improve my camera. Girl, don't be trusting some aliens to just touch your tech and improve it. You can't take Lois anywhere. Anyway, Hiro melts her camera, which confuses her, but she doesn't have time to really think about it because there's a ship that's sinking and this looks like a job for Hiro. I will go, beautiful one, but you must come with me. After being ignored by Superman, it's a thrill to have this super Romeo give me the rush act. This is what years of neglect has done, Clark. It's broken her mind. Self-esteem gone in tatters, throwing herself at comatose aliens. He then grabs her by her hair and tugs her out to sea. She's confused, but assumes, like the teaser page, it must be because he's not from around here. He also sinks the ship instead of stopping the leak, but the crew tells her they were carrying munitions, so she assumes he was just thinking ahead. Then he really saved us all. What a man. He says that he'll see her tomorrow and calls her by her name. Insert Montero jokes here. But she didn't tell him her name, so how did he know? Wait, how did he know my name? He must have had a means of watching me from his world. I'll bet he's been carrying a torch for me for years. How thrilling. Lois, you misspelled terrifying. We've done so many of these that I can instantly go through my mana decks and locate the people who have been doing that to Lois. The people who have stalked her from afar, such as Darnell, who came after this issue-wise, who was time watching her from outside of her time. He fell in love with her and used her to pinpoint where he should land, which caused all kinds of time skips and problems for her. But it's fine, just like anything any of these men is fine to Lois, except it's not. And there was also the Astounding Man who was before this issue-wise, and he not only had been watching her, but he had videos of her playing in his Lois Lane room of his homeworld, inside of his like Lois mausoleum. He's so mysterious, so different. Frankly, I can't wait to see him again. I love how he grabbed my hair and dumped me in the ocean. The next day, Hiro enters the Daily Planet office by phasing through the wall, and Lana, she's on board too. Fabulous, and he's as handsome as a movie star. I don't get it. Lana actually uses Hiro to give her a scoop, which enrages Lois, because she views this as him essentially cheating on her. Because if you're dating Lois, you gotta give her the best scoops, the good scoops, 2 scoops. She slaps him across the face and he looks like he's about to respond in kind. In fact, she's so scared she thinks that he's going to kill her. That's how angry he looks. But in a sudden, incredible switch, would you believe it? Instead of murdering me, he's kissing me. I can feel he loves me with every fiber of his being. Ladies, gentlemen, anyone, don't listen to anything Lois Lane says about romance or love. If Lois thinks it's a good idea, don't do it. Do the opposite. It turns out that Hiro gave Lana the wrong address, so the two go off to stop this convict. That's what they're gonna go do, because he's just bringing her places, Only while they're in pursuit, Hiro locks Lois in the culprit's hideout while he goes after him, and Superman has to come save her. He says that he needs to warn her about Hiro, because he knows that she's going to ignore all the red flags, and he should know. He's waved enough of them in front of her himself. I know he's strange and different, but he's a superhero like you, and it's possible that Earth's environment has confused his alien mind. Yes, confusion. That's what's happening. I think Lois is the one who hurt herself in her confusion. The culprit manages to somehow get angry at Lois about this and even calls her a dame, because remember kids, D is for dame. And then he's about to shoot, and Hiro comes and is going to use her as a human shield. Well, Superman can't have that happen, so he stops the crook and then gets into a fight with Hiro. 2 superheroes fighting over me. I should be flattered, but I'm frightened. No, Lois, this is good. You're learning. Suddenly, Hiro's hand changes color, revealing that he is from Bizarro world. He was a version of the Flash created by Bizarro, who wanted to create his own Justice League. He was inspired to do so after he tuned into that meeting somehow that they were having about that asteroid prison. And so they tried to recreate a Bizarro Flash, only it went wrong, or well, more right than they wanted. He turned out to be at least physically more reminiscent of the Flash than they wanted, so they got rid of him. It wasn't even Lois's kiss that awakened him. When she leaned over to kiss him, her camera touched his belt, and that was what caused his revival. You sank a ship you'd been called on to save, reversed the 6s and 9s in the address you gave Lana, mistreated me to show love, and kissed me to display anger. Then Hiro just goes full Bizarro, and he doesn't want anything to do with Lois because she's too pretty, and so he goes back to his home planet. What an experience. Well, from now on, the only hero for me will be Superman. What an experience indeed. I have to say that this would have been more interesting if it was the Reverse Flash, although you would have had to find a way to make this somehow get back at Barry in some way. This would have to ruin Barry's life. It would have to be some kind of 4D level chess move. As it stands, it's your standard uncomfortable Lois Lane romance with some extra wincing to be had because of the overt physical abuse. I mean, because if a kiss means a hit, oof. However, that brings up one of the problems that's present in a lot of Bizarro storylines. How far is the reversing everything gimmick taken? It's usually really inconsistent and falls apart quite quickly under any scrutiny. Like, take that scene there. If a kiss is a hit, then why raise a fist to her at all? Because that would be a gesture of love. If he said that he was gonna see her the next day, then shouldn't he just not show up? It's really unclear as to what's going on with his mind. Like, was he slowly becoming more Bizarro because there are some things that he's already doing reversed? I guess you could sell it that it's a slow process, like it only sort of went wrong from their perspective. But you see, if you think about it for any length of time, it starts collapsing in on itself. Not to mention the fact that no one was fazed by this Flash looking dude just walking around. I guess they were blinded by the handsome. What's that symbol on his chest? A gavel? Just a hammer? This one is very thrown together. It has a we need a Lois romance stat vibe, but also we're trying to make it a bit more creative than usual vibe. But we also reuse the Reverse Flash's costume. Now, this isn't really a Lois marriage because the only time that's mentioned is on the cover, but they're playing into that expectation, so it's going on the playlist. It's always difficult to rank Lois's suitors because they're all so uncomfortable, but I think we can rate Hiro a big Y for yikes. When you're making some of the others look good, it's gone wrong. Tell me your thoughts on Hiro. What do you think of this Lois Lane romantic misadventure? If you're ready to proudly proclaim your former relationship, again, the link is down below. Please do all the YouTube things, like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so that you never miss a vid. Thanks so much for taking some time out of your day spent discussing comics with me. I always appreciate it, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.